we've said all along that Tennessee's draw on the men's side was a good draw for them. Tennessee will face Kentucky, and then they will move on to the Elite Eight with a chance to go to the Final Four. I think they'll play Houston. Caleb, who do you have in your bracket?
Oh, I think they'll play Houston too.
Okay. Then the Lady Vols, I'll be honest with you, I didn't think they'd get past Ohio State since that game was in Columbus, but they suddenly have a pretty good draw as well. What do you make of the two games that the Lady Vols have coming up? And then we'll get to our poll question, which will be which team wins the most, or how do you want to say it?
Which team has the best chance? Which team has the best chance of going to the Final Four?
Okay. So what do you got? Who are they facing this week? By the way, an update on our poll question. Which former Tennessee head coach would you want to see Vols hire back? Bruce Pearl, 31%. Donnie Tyndall, 12%. Lane Kiffin, 25%. Jeremy Pruitt as an assistant. This thing's taken off. All right, Caleb.
So 31%. You didn't even say how much at 31%.
Yeah, 31%. Sorry. All right, Caleb, go ahead.
All right, so Tennessee, I think we've talked about Tennessee playing Kentucky and Kentucky sweeping Tennessee during the regular season. I've talked about their tempo, how this would be their toughest matchup en route to the Final Four. They either win this game, they either lose here, or they make the Final Four, and I'm sticking by that. But I actually think because of the toughness of the Sweet 16 matchup, the Lady Vols have a better chance of going to the Final Four than the men. The Lady Vols are facing Texas on Saturday in the Sweet 16, the number 1 seed Longhorns. Tennessee lost to Texas, Dave, in the regular season, 80-76. Point of order. That was a road game. Also, point of order. Kim Caldwell was not coaching in that game because she was giving birth. So a little bit of a distraction on when they lost to Texas at Texas. They're a really good matchup for Texas. They're fresh now. Steve Hamer has convinced me that those 2 weeks off have totally rejuvenated them. Their legs are under them now. They are totally fresh, so they can run this 12-deep system where they just go all in, and they can wear you down in a game doing that, and they will be fresh enough to do that. And I would like to point out that Texas does also play deep, but Texas has 2 players that they have one player who averages 29.5 minutes a game, another one averaging 31.3 minutes a game, and Tennessee doesn't have anybody averaging 25 minutes a game. So Tennessee's going to be fresher. On top of that, and here's the biggest thing, and I don't know if you guys have ever been to or watched a women's NCAA tournament game in the regionals, but if you know any history about it, wherever Tennessee goes, they're the home team. Okay, the Lady Vol fans pack it. This game's in Birmingham. Where do you don't think there's going to be some Knoxville people make the trip to Birmingham, Dave? And they're going to pack
Birmingham, the armpit of the South. All right, Tony Jones joins us now, a former associate head basketball coach. Let me ask you this question that we were just bantering about. The Lady Vols or the men? Whose chances do you like more this weekend in advancing to the Final Four?
Who do the Lady Vols play? Excuse me for being, not abreast of the Lady Vols.
They play Texas on the road, or they play Texas, not on the road. They play Texas and Birmingham. They lost to Texas by 4 on the road earlier this year, Tony, but that game, it was only by 4, and Kim Caldwell was not coaching because she was giving birth that day. So they were a little bit distracted.
I've seen Texas play. They're good. They'll handle. They'll be prepared to play. I know the coach at Texas will have them prepared to play. I think Tennessee's. I like their chances a little bit better. I like their chances against Kentucky. Now I'm gonna tell you, I've in my brackets and just by my astute knowledge, I think Houston will edge Tennessee out in the Elite Eight game because I got Houston beating my favorite son, Auburn, in the finals. I think Houston and Kelvin Sampson will win the national championship this year.
Wow. Okay. So I don't have them going that far, but I do have them beating Tennessee in the final moments. What's your Twitter handle, by the way, Tony?
My Twitter handle?
Yes.
T Jones Live.
I got you. All right. Go ahead, Caleb.
So you think the men have a better chance than the women, Tony?
Yeah, I think for the women play Thursday or Friday?
Saturday. They play Saturday.
Okay, they play Saturday. The men play Friday. The men will win Friday. The women will lose Saturday.
Okay, so you got Texas beating. See, what I said is, I don't know if you heard before we hopped on, is I think the home court advantage can be a factor on the women's side because, as you know, Tony, when the Lady Vols are in the NCAA tournament, they have home court advantage no matter where they are because the Lady Vol fan base travels so much.
I agree with that. You know, Texas has been just so good all year long. You know, obviously they were number one in the country for a number of weeks. And they got that horse. They got an unbelievable player. And I think, you know, when you have the best players, when you start getting deep into this tournament, they usually rise to the top.
So
I know you want to get. Do you want to keep one here? Or do you want to move?
Well,
forward?
just real quick, Dave, you got to give your take. Who's going further, Tennessee men or women?
I think they're both going to lose in the Elite Eight.
Wow, so you do have them upsetting Texas, the Lady Vols.
I do. I'm going to pick them to upset Texas.
So I say the women. Tony says the men. Dave says they both lose the same round.
Went right down the middle of that street, didn't I?